The opinions expressed in this program are not those of CISA 7 or Time Warner Cable.
What's your tomorrow?
Good evening. We are going to begin our special board meeting. Glad you could all make it, actually getting in out of the heat, no doubt. And I will ask for the reading of the first recommendation, please, Mike.
I move that the employment of Dexter McNabb as high school associate principal at West High School, 12 months, at a salary of $93,032, Group 6, 90th percentile, prorated, effective on a date to be mutually agreed upon, contingent upon successful completion of the pre-employment process as presented, be approved.
Second. Thank you. Discussion? And Jean, do you want to join the table just to be able to feel? And Mark Smith, too. In the event there are any questions, we can. Any questions, comments? Hearing done, let's.
I'm excited. Just Dexter comes with a wealth of experience as a leader in his district. He comes from the Pulaski School District, and we're really excited to have him join us.
Yes, throughout the interview process, Dexter demonstrated a wonderful ability to really, focus on what matters most, which is students and supporting teachers and students. He believes in high expectations and certainly supporting those individuals through that process. So we're excited to recommend Dexter and feel that he certainly will bring a wonderful skill set to our district and in particular West High School. So extremely fortunate to be here today.
That's great. Anything else? Hearing none, roll call please, Sandy.
Jeffries?
Aye.
Franz?
Aye.
Wagner?
Aye.
Blackhawk?
Aye.
Maloney?
Aye.
Becker?
Aye.
Passed 6-0. Our board president is not able to be here this evening. It passed unanimously. If you'd like to introduce Mr. McNabb.
Dexter McNabb, you mind standing?
Welcome to our district.
Welcome.
Thank you.
We're happy to have you.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Next one, Mike.
I move that the employment of Brian Motz as high school associate principal activities director at Southwest High School, 11 months, at a salary of $90,964, Group 6, 96th percentile, prorated if needed, effective on a date to be mutually agreed upon, contingent upon successful completion of the pre-employment process as presented, be approved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Discussion? Jean or?
Well, Brian comes with well over 10 years of experience either as an associate principal or athletic director, and most recently he has been working in Neenah, but before that Pulaski, and before that he worked at Menasha and then Kimberly, and it seems that he has just the right skill set that will mesh very well with Southwest. He's excited to be part of our district, and he's done a lot in the districts that he's worked in.
Yeah, I echo the same thing. We're fortunate to have Brian as a recommended candidate. Unfortunately, Brian can't be here this evening, so he's not in attendance, but he's anxiously awaiting the decision and excited to get started with our district as well.
Thank you. Sandy, roll call please.
Maloney?
Aye.
Franz? Aye. Jeffries?
Aye.
Becker?
Aye.
Blackhawk?
Aye.
Wagner?
Aye.
Passed 6-0. We welcome him. The next category, transfers of staff.
I move that the transfer of Jesse Brinkman, elementary associate principal at Sullivan Elementary School, 11 months, salary group 10, at a salary of $71,303, 86th percentile, 2012-13 step, to elementary principal at Langlade Elementary School, 11 months, salary group 8, at a salary of $79,177, 86th percentile, 2013-14 step, as presented, be approved.
Second.
Thank you. We welcome Terry Williams to the table.
This will be Jesse's first principal position. He actually was an instructional coach at Langley, so he's going back to school where he started. He started here in 2011, and most recently he's been associate principal at Sullivan, and he was a dean of students at Lombardi as well. So he's had progressively more experience in leadership roles, and now he'll be a principal, and I think he'll do very well.
We're really excited to welcome Jesse to the team and to be working in partnership with Tammy at Langley as they transition. And welcome Jesse to Langley.
Any questions or comments? Hearing none? Oh, go ahead.
I have a comment. One of the things that really impresses me about Jesse is he has a strong background in special education. And when we look at his background, he's in it for each and every child. All means all. And I truly believe that, and his work here in the district has been primarily all administrative, but you see that and hear it. He walks the walk and talks the talk. So I'm really excited for Langlade, and I'm excited as we move forward. So as one of our head principals, I'm glad he's here. So.
Thank you very much.
Roll call, please, Sandy.
Blackout?
Aye.
Wagner?
Aye.
Becker?
Aye.
Maloney?
Aye.
Jeffries?
Aye.
Franz?
Aye.
Pass 6-0. Welcome. The next transfer, please, Mike.
I move that the transfer of Deanne Lehman, elementary principal at Howe Elementary School, 11 months, salary group 8, at a salary of $92,066, 100th percentile, 2012-13 step, to elementary principal at Fort Howard Elementary School, 12 months, salary group 8, at a salary $100,432, 100th percentile, 2013-14 step, as presented, be approved.
Second. Thank you.
Deanne is one of our most experienced elementary principals, and she's transferring to Fort Howard from Howe, and this is one of our schools that will be working with the turnaround partner, and she's started doing that this past year, lending her skills to the school as they started to transition with the partner.
West Ed talked about the importance of having an experienced principal who knew what a high-functioning school would look like and would be able to do the diagnostics, look at the needs assessment, and really thoughtfully plan forward and make the changes necessary in the school turnaround process. So we're really pleased to have Deanne transferring from Howe to Fort Howard.
Mike.
I just want to say, actually on a couple different occasions now, I've had the occasion of seeing Deanne interact with the new staff at Fort Howard, and I think the staff is very excited about her ideas and her leadership, and I think it's going to be a great year at Fort Howard.
Roll call, please, Sandy.
Becker?
Aye.
Jeffries?
Aye.
Maloney?
Aye.
Franz?
Aye.
Wagner?
Aye.
Blackout?
Aye.
Pass 6-0. And lastly, I don't think Deanne's here, is she? She's done. There's one more.
I move that the resignation of Georgina Cornu, elementary principal at Dan's Elementary School, effective July 22nd, 2013, as presented, be approved.
Second?
Just simply a loss of a good principal because she wants to work closer to her family. The family is growing, and she feels it's really important this year that she not make the commute. So it's unfortunate, but
Yes, it is.
She's done a very good
Yes.
job and has worked very hard, and I know that commute has been wearing on her, and I can certainly respect and appreciate that, and obviously, the district that she's going to clearly recognizes she's a highly skilled, highly talented administrator as well, so.
Can you talk a little bit about the search for the new principal there?
Well, actually, we have a candidate that we interviewed, was it 4 or 5? 4 candidates, but we have another candidate we're bringing in this week. And so we hope to have that position filled.
Have something for us next week?
I'm not sure if it'll be next week. It might be a little tight.
Go ahead, Michelle.
Just one of the things, knowing that there would be multiple opportunities with some things shifting and moving in elementary, and in anticipation of that, Human Resources actually posted a kind of a general open, so that there's been a candidate pool that they've been working with and through this summer, and so that each time, that they wouldn't have to keep reopening and waiting. So that's why they can have candidates in the wings now, because they've had that open candidate pool in elementary. And I think it was posted twice, if I'm not mistaken.
It was. An open posting was sent out twice. And then we also, when we knew that Georgine was leaving, we posted just to the internal principals to see if anybody wanted to move around. And I think end of day today is when people need to express their desire.
Any interest.
I haven't had anybody express it yet.
And as a board, we're actually meeting the next 2 Mondays.
Right.
So if need
So
be, we
that's
could
a
do
good-
another one of these.
Thank you. That would be
To
very good to know.
expedite
Yep.
things.
Thank you.
Because we do have,
Board meeting
right,
the work session, so we could hold a
We have-
special board meeting like this one.
right.
Okay.
We have the regular board meeting next week, and following that, we have, I believe we're discussing,
Superintendent evaluation.
Michelle.
So we could have,
so we can meet with
Okay.
you before we talk about Michelle.
Okay.
We need to vote on this. Chris?
You talk about posting, there's a couple ways to do it, and I'm not quite following what was done. You can post every time something opens, or what was done, what used to be done, I don't know if it still is. All administrators were given a survey at the beginning of summer. It wasn't just about what positions were open at that point in time, but if there was anything here that you might be interested in later on, let us know now, and that just saved time later on. Is that still done?
The survey, the traditional survey that we had done in the past, we did not do, but we have been doing that in a different way and in communicating, and there have been multiple communications that have gone out to find out interest for those transfers.
But everybody is aware of what has opened up. Of course, email makes it a lot simpler.
Well, for Dan specifically, only the existing principals know, but there was a general principal posting sent out twice within the district for anybody interested in a principal vacancy. And that's how we got a pool of candidates internally, and then we did that externally as well.
Andrew?
So what, would that get in the way of, hypothetically, someone may have, something about Dan's may have particularly made someone, an administratively certified teacher, for example, be interested specifically in that school for whatever reason, then would they not be in the loop on this one?
They would not know specifically that Dan's had opened up, but at this time, if we had somebody hired, we may decide to do an interim, because we talked about that at this late date. Because by the time a person, well, and the thing is, we are looking for somebody with experience for dance.
Dan's is a focus school.
It's unlikely that we transfer a new principal into this school, so we're looking for experience.
And then my other question, not that it would be a sole qualification, I'm just wondering how things have been this year. Are we having some people fluent in Spanish in our principal pool, or is that difficult to come by?
We interviewed a candidate in this. Go
Go ahead. Yeah, go, sure.
We interviewed a candidate in this past round that did have Spanish-speaking abilities and did have administrative experience. We continue to search all candidates, and one of the priorities we've made is that they do have some administrative experience, again, based on the recommendations and research with Dan's being a focus school.
So we're just not getting the 6, 8, 10 fluent Spanish speakers jumping into a large school?
Not with experience as a principal.
Okay.
And so we've made a decision that they have to be what we would consider an excellent principal, even if they don't speak Spanish. Spanish is not going to trump the leadership skills that we're seeking.
The schools that could most use the Spanish-speaking principal are often the ones that would most need the most experienced principal too, so.
Sometimes that's the case, yes. But there's other positions within the school that we could look at. For example, a dean.
Thank you.
Chris?
Well, one would hope that if a person doesn't speak Spanish, there would be willingness to learn it part of the process. You said you're looking for someone with experience. I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. My memory serves me right. Ms. Cornu came there without administrative experience, at least as a principal.
One of the things that again, it goes back to our conversations with Wested, and we're looking at, when Ms. Cornu came, it was not a priority or focus school at the time, and that was one of the recommendations. So that's one of the reasons we're trying to look for experience. Again, at the end of the day, and Jean and I have talked about it, is that the leadership piece is critical. If we don't find the right candidate, we may consider going interim till we do, because we're really concerned that that be an excellent fit, because there are big shoes to fill. So.
Any other questions or comments? We have a motion on the floor.
Becker?
Aye.
Blackout?
Aye.
Jeffries?
Aye.
Maloney?
Aye.
Wagner?
Aye.
Franz? Aye.
Well, for 4 out of 5 reasons, this was a very good meeting. Any other matters allowed by law? I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
This meeting is adjourned.
Right on time.
And welcome to our board meeting. Now, the work sessions begin. We will begin with a public forum. Is there anyone who would like to address the board this evening? Anyone interested in addressing the board? Going once, going twice? All right, they're all familiar faces, so no one's going to address the board. We will move forward to the teaching and learning work session. And I'm here because Brenda is out of town, so I'm actually scheduled to facilitate this. I'm just going to go ahead and continue to do that. We have 2 discussion items. The first one is the Focus School Update. And Kim Paulo and Terry Williams are joining us with their team.
Melissa said I could do this, but while they were gathering, we do have Gina here, if you want to tell her thank you for the
Yes,
time in the
yes.
district.
She did just talk in.
Yep.
Yes, but
We just spent
she's
the
also
last
part of
10
this.
minutes talking about how sad we are that you're leaving our district. We wish you well. We wish you well. We appreciate all that you've done for our students.
Yes,
If
thank
you
you.
ever,
Thank you.
and thank you, Kim. And then if you could make it, everyone bring their chairs, that's it. And then whoever is speaking, if you could try to make it a point to speak into the microphone, because we are televised, and people do watch this. They do. They come up to me in the produce section, hey, I'm like, really? So if you could.
Could. To start us this evening, you had asked a while back how we were doing with our focus schools and what was our plan of action and what are some of the things that we've accomplished this year and what are our plans going forward. So Terry and her large team, I'll have them introduce themselves as we go around, and then they're going to share an update for you.
All right, thank you.
And as large as this team looks, there are other stakeholders that have been a part of this process that I'd like to recognize before we begin, in addition to the group here. So Julie Seefeld and Marshall Moten, Claudia Henriksen, Claudia Orr, and Stephen Miller have also been meeting every month with our team as we really focus on the focus school improvement planning and working together in partnership to move this team forward. And in addition to them, Corey and Charlie and Gina have been our 3 focus school principals. Charlie is another one that we're very sad to see relocating to Oregon, but we're very excited to be welcoming Melissa to the table. And as you can see, we've wasted no time in bringing her along. So Melissa will be sharing this evening as well. And again, I know we spoke previously about Gina's leaving the district and the loss that we feel. And this will be a celebration of the work that she's helped move forward. And I just know you'll be impressed by all that's been accomplished this year as we've done the focus school work. Michelle and Lisa are first on our agenda and have been great leaders and facilitators of this process. So I'm very excited to turn this over to the team and let them share with you the highlights of the focus school work that we've accomplished this year.
Thank you.
Very good.
Good evening.
Evening.
I am going to briefly walk you through the document you have in front of you and then turn it over to Michelle and the rest of the team. I gave you a brief background of what is a focus school and what are the requirements. And then the main part of this document is the update to you of what has occurred throughout the 2012-2013 school year. And you will see that there are some big rocks that we have either already moved or started to move, and that is what the rest of the team is going to talk about tonight. And you will see that for 2013-14, we have some strengths, some things that we have started working on that have really been beneficial to us, that we are going to continue to build on for the 2013-2014 school year. So starting on page 2 of the document is the review of 2012-13 and some of those deliverables and main pieces that we worked on. And then on page 3, we are looking ahead to 2013-2014. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Michelle Thompson, the Title I program support teacher.
Good evening. One of the important pieces that has been part of the work of the focus schools is the use of a tool called Industar. Industar is a web-based tool that guides the school improvement team in charting its improvement and managing the continuous improvement process. It was provided to us by DPI, and focus schools are required to use it. Industar has been so helpful because it's research practices and the indicators of effective schools. It leads the school team through the process of assessing their current level of implementation in many different areas, creating a plan, and then monitoring the implementation of that plan. Industar also allows the state and the district to regularly monitor the implementation and progress of the school improvement plan. The district support staff and DPI consultants can then advise and coach the focus school on their work. Industar is a tool and a process that our 3 focus schools have found very helpful. Through the use of Industar, we've been able to identify areas in need of improvement and then have created the plans to address those needs. Each of our 3 focus schools have developed electronic school improvement plans which address several of these indicators of effective schools. Currently, these actions are being implemented, and as things become fully implemented, new plans will be created as we journey through this continuous cycle of improvement. Do you have any questions about Industar?
Questions at this point?
Oh, we will ask them, believe me.
Good evening. I'm Corey Vandertine. I'm the principal at Eisenhower Elementary School. And one of the great aspects of our focus schoolwork this year has been around RTI. We had an opportunity as a team to attend an
Excuse
RTI.
me, the acronym police, if you could.
RTI, Response to Intervention.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm sorry about that.
For our viewing audience.
Yes. So we were able to attend an overview training of that, as well as additional training around progress monitoring and universal screeners, which is also connected directly with RTI. And the work we focused on was around high-quality universal instruction and assessment for all, and the importance of collaboration, and that's definitely very evident through the job-embedded process that's apparent right here in Green Bay. We are also able to, as a team, established resource mapping, which means that we looked at the resources that we're using for our instructional purposes in English and in our bilingual instruction, and we mapped it out to ensure that there's that high-quality universal instruction, meaning what is everyone getting access to. And what was wonderful about that, it's given us an opportunity as 3 focus schools to really be able to share what each of the buildings are doing and ensuring that we're moving in the same direction with the ultimate target of reaching all students. And we know that within all of our buildings, there are needs for intervention, working with those students who may be delayed or needing some additional practice, but we wanted to make sure that we first focus on the universal instruction, making sure that in the classroom that there's high quality instruction taking place in every room and that every student's getting that same equal access to high quality instruction and assessment.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Melissa Ellingson, new principal at Nicolet. And I've just dove headfirst, I think, into all of this, being a new team member. Spent a lot of time working with Charlie, the past principal at Nicolet, and I am just amazed by the work that has been done, not only at Nicolet, but at the other focus and priority school, too. We're really looking at this as an opportunity for us, rather than looking at it as a negative. It's an opportunity for us to embrace the different tools that the state is giving us to use. And what I found quite awesome is the work that has been done with IndiStar in these schools has helped the district roll that out to the other schools as well. Because those indicators are research-based, and they are true indicators of what makes a school successful. And within those indicators are what is called WISE ways, which gives the research behind it, which I find very powerful when working with staff members of a school, that you can look at, why does this work? What is the research behind it? It's not just some gimmick or something that somebody is saying. It's research-based, and the research is right there with each indicator. So it's really been a positive opportunity for, like what Corey said, to look at that universal instruction, because it is about meeting the needs of all of our students in the district, not just at our schools, but all of our students. And truly, at the heart of it is what's best for kids. And from my perspective, coming new to this team, the work that has been done and currently is being done and what is going to be done in the future is what's best for kids, and the research is there to prove it. So it's very exciting, a very exciting time for the kids in this district and for all of us that are a part of it.
We'll open it up for questions then, if you have any questions for the team.
Do board members have any questions? Celestine?
Yep. Let's see. I remember the discussion about IndiStar. We were looking for a partner, a turnaround partner. And so I think I would like to see it. Because I really don't know what it looks like and how it functions and what that means for other types of assessments and tools that we have. I don't know when the appropriate time is for that, but so I guess that's my
Would that be an
question.
appropriate retreat? Spend a little time at a retreat doing that?
Well, I think this is, especially if 3 schools are using it and we have a
Broader.
focus school, I think, I don't know. It's not my decision to make, but I would like to.
The next teaching and learning.
Teaching and
agenda?
learning, or even on your agenda?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
What are we calling you again?
What are we calling
To be the-
ourselves? The magnificent Mike.
What is our new title?
That is part of the plan as we roll out for you progress monitoring tools, and what we're doing with continuous school improvement would be to give you an overview of IndiStar so that you can see that. So we can wrap that into that part of the board presentation.
Okay.
And I think doing it at a regular board meeting
Yeah.
would be better than just dealing with it at a retreat. I think we need to get it out there.
Good. My second question is about how the parents were included. So I know at the beginning of the document, there was a mention of the parents, right? But I don't recall seeing how the parents were included all along the way throughout the entire school year. I do know that there was a survey done, like, for instance, of what type of extended day for Fort Howard there needed to be. But that doesn't mean that necessarily comported with the other three schools. So what was that like?
And Lisa and Michelle and as well as Corey and Melissa can say more, but I can tell you that at every meeting with our building leadership teams, what we did is spent a large portion of our meeting time looking at IndyStar and the WISE ways, and really looking at the levels of implementation at our schools and what the next steps are. And at those meetings, we always invite the parents to be. We have a parent representative that is part of those discussions. We also know that because we're Title I school meeting schools, we have during our parent events, we, for example, we will have a special session at our parent event on IndyStar. I know, for example, at our school, we will have an informational meeting about, okay, where are we at with our school improvement planning efforts, and then talk about IndyStar. They may not want to go as in-depth as some of the rest of us, but at least we make an effort to inform them, and many of them knew what it was. And what they like is the fact that it was backed up by research. And another important point of the parent piece is that it really looks at beyond just bringing parents for parent meetings, but it's really looking at that involvement at a deeper level, how we can bring the curriculum of the home into the schools and what that means. And we're not, that's something that we need to explore yet, but it's about that partnership. So the parents were very excited about that piece, and we truly believe that the parents are ready for the next step.
When we highlight the IndyStar program, we could select the parent involvement indicator for you to see, and so you could see that connection.
That would be really good.
They've very clearly outlined the indicators around the parent involvement. It is part of the federal requirements for the Title I program, and IndyStar is in alignment with that. So there are some very clear expectations around what that looks like and what the research is, and you could see what the schools are using to guide their work and their action planning.
That would be excellent. I mean, I think that that's where Title I probably should have gone a long time ago. And so I would like to see that. That would be informative and interesting. And then my final question is just, I know it's not on here, but I'm just going to ask Terry and Kim and Lisa. Just give me, off the top of your head, insight as to the whole process over the last year. How has this impressed you? What's gone, in a general way? What's next? A nice little insight statement off the top of your head.
I've been very impressed with the team's willingness to come together and work in partnership, and the collaboration around the work that will be meaningful and that will affect change, true meaningful change within that cycle of continuous improvement. They've really dug in and brought forward information from each school, and we'd come together, and then they would go back to the schools to make sure that it was a collaborative process involving all stakeholders. And the team that came together from across departments here, and the full engagement of, Stephen Miller just came along with Julie Seefeld to the last present meeting, and we talked about AMOs and the data around what that looked like, and as just an example of that collaboration and that partnership. So off the top of my head, that would be the one thing that I would say, the commonality around that work and the working in partnership and collaborative.
Building more on the collaboration piece, I would say that the resource mapping of the high-quality universal instruction that the 3 focus schools did this year allowed them to really build on each other's strengths. It allowed them to identify where the gaps were and where their learning needed to go moving forward. And that started happening this year and will continue to happen next year. And to me, that's been very, very powerful. We've taken the best of each of the 3 schools and are moving forward with that. And when you hear RTI, response to intervention, you may think a little differently than the work we've actually been doing has really been focused on the basis of RTI is high-quality universal instruction. If you do not have high-quality universal instruction in place in all of your classrooms, you can be on that hamster wheel doing intervention after intervention after intervention, but when the child goes back to the classroom, if they're not experiencing that high-quality universal instruction, they're going to find themselves right back in the intervention. So I think we've really gotten at the heart of what needs to happen in order for that true improvement to take place.
Are you leaning forward?
You know, I think the only thing I would say is, I am.
The suspense is killing us.
I think, Gina mentioned it, this is something that we will now use as a model for the rest of our district, so I think that provides some insight in that. We feel strongly about recommending that. The day that we did our school improvement process, formerly known as the data retreat, I tried to get to a lot of places that day and walk around and listen. And I think if you were to be able to listen to the level at which the focus and priority schools were able to have discussions around interventions, action plans, versus the other schools, not their fault, but just because they've lived it for a year, you would also be able to see the difference. They're at a level that the other schools just aren't at quite yet because of Industar, the work that they've been doing, which I do believe now becomes a model. And we've got folks who've used it that will be able to help other schools and other buildings and other principals and us move it forward. So I think that's the only other piece that day was really telling for me, to be able to go from group to group. And we had all of these schools in one room together because they're actually a little bit ahead in our process. And then to go to another group and listen to the conversation, that alone was telling for me. So,
thank you. Mike?
I'm looking ahead to your planning for 2013, where we're talking about the Industar using to guide school improvement and the focus school teams looking at the schedules, way to increase instruction time, provide high quality, seamless instruction. How and when will we be able to determine the impact of all this work on student achievement?
One of the things that we are going to, that we identified in our most recent meeting as a priority for this upcoming year is to find a way beyond the WKCE to monitor our progress. Because the 3 focus schools have a high percentage of ELL students, and the research shows that it takes at least 5 to 7 years for second language students to read proficiently and comprehend proficiently, we know that the WKCE is not going to give us the information that we need, the full picture, to see how those students are making progress. So that is on our agenda for August. Our August meeting is to really look at how will we know that we're getting better and how will we be able to track that improvement. Because as we've said, we embrace the opportunity to do the focus school work. We think it's really beneficial and important, and we've already benefited from it. But we need to be able to see how we're benefiting. And right now, the system that the DPI is offering in terms of the WKCE isn't providing us the information that we need to really truly be able to track that student improvement.
It's not real time.
So more to come.
Right. And one piece that I left out of when I was talking is the growth mindset. That's what we're embracing. We're not looking at that one-time snapshot. We're looking at the growth that students are making over the course of a year. So that's why it's so important to have that progress monitoring piece so that we can see often, many, many times, if what we're doing is having the impact that we want, which is increasing student achievement.
Michelle? I think one of the pieces when you look at even West Ed coming in, there is a recognition this is going to take some time as well. And so the process that the state is requesting and putting in place is what, 4 years or 5? 4 years. And really what you're really looking at is changing, really transformational is really what it is. It's not just reform. We're not trying to do 20th century same old, just louder or differently in that regard. We're really looking at a totally different way of how we're doing business. And I think that's the piece. The InduStar, to be able to look at intervention, to look at first best universal instruction every single day for every child is a different mindset. It's truly a different mindset. And it's going to take strong leadership, which it already has, but it also is changing the culture of how we do business. And in addition to that, we do have to measure differently. Because right now, and the research would show you and tell you, that the state test currently measures things that have nothing to do with student achievement. That they tell us who is economically disadvantaged and other things as well. But it doesn't give us a growth model that we need. It doesn't give us that value added. And you know, what we've looked at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, they may be able to help us with some of those measures because they've talked about value-added models, and in fact, we've talked about that. And also, I believe that, even right here in Green Bay and looking at our local university partners, we need to come up with some measures because our students are not necessarily being measured on what they know and can do. And that's really important for us to know exactly. I suspect over time, by the time these same students get to 8th grade, you'll see tremendous difference, but we can't know that, and we want to be confident of that.
Okay. Chris?
If I may piggyback on to previous comments, as long as we're looking at new measurements and whatnot, I would like to think, besides value added, we start thinking in terms of cost-benefit ratios, because money's not going to get much better. I mean, it's going to be a while before we see sufficient money. So we have to start thinking, what are the benefits of the cost-benefit ratios of different programs?
Mm-hmm.
So some may be cut loose and some may be held on to.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you very much. I appreciate all that you've done and your enthusiasm.
We look forward to hearing from you again.
Yes.
Thank you.
Our second discussion item is scheduling the board retreat on the 12th of August, which everyone has acknowledged they're available.
Yes.
It's just a matter of setting the time. I'm hearing some muttering.
I was muttering because I'm trying to have a vacation, although it does say board retreat on my phone.
It does. Everyone responded yes. It's a matter of setting the time.
That's true.
So.
And we're ready.
So.
Well, for me, I mean, it's a Monday, so it has to be after 5.
It's okay. 5:30? I mean, 5:30 is...
Sure.
5:30? Does that work for everyone? 5:30? 5:30?
That's having it all for me.
5:30, all right.
Very good.
Okay, that one's done. Moving on to our action items. The first one, that the Unique Learning Systems Curriculum Adoption Proposal second reading be approved.
Can you move that from the chair? You can run it.
I'm not making a motion.
Because it's not next.
It's just a work session.
I'm simply.
Because it's the 15th, not
I'm
the
simply,
22nd.
right, I'm introducing it and I'm allowing Claudia the opportunity to.
I was off by a week, that's why.
Yes, no, this is still the work session, so it's not, I'm simply reading them as they will be presented. That being said, any comments,
We talked
concerns?
about this last time.
We did, it was discussed, it was an opportunity, she stretched her legs, that's good. That's good.
Thank you, Claudia.
Hearing nothing, we'll move that forward. Okay, the second
Move that the advanced placement AP Spanish and Language Culture, Curriculum, and Resources waiver of the first reading be approved.
And we have Andrea and her team here to, this might be your first official
Here to beg us
presentation
to waive
to
the
the
first
board.
reading.
Yeah.
She's new.
Good evening, I'm Andrea Lamper, the Executive Director of Teaching and Learning, and I have my team here with me.
All right.
Mike Friesen.
Lisa Johnson.
Welcome.
So we're here today to talk about the AP, both chemistry and AP Spanish. We're asking for the adoption of a new curriculum, but in addition, we're also asking for the waiver of the first reading. And I want you to know that that is not something that we take lightly when we know that the policy is to have 2 readings. In this situation, it is unique that the College Board, who writes the curriculum framework for AP, that they have changed the curriculum, issued a new framework, and we want to provide enough time for our teachers to receive the new information and the new resources so that they can align it with the syllabi and be ready to hit the road running this fall. With that, Lisa?
So the first one is AP Spanish.
Yeah, that's like.
So soft. AP Spanish.
Speak into the
moving
mic,
forward.
please, now.
And the AP Spanish, one of the big changes that the College Board made with the AP Spanish is they moved to thematic-based, and as well as the AP exam also changed in parts of the exam. So that's where the new resources will come in handy for the teachers to prepare those students. So the total cost for the AP Spanish is approximately $5,000.
Any questions or concerns? Yes.
I mean, it is what it is because it's a College Board. 50 student books, that's going to be enough? That's all we've got?
Yeah, that's actually a little bit of extra for our warehouse, which we normally do.
A little cushion, okay.
All right.
I just had a general question. When I was looking at this, are these the only 2 AP courses that the College Board has changed the curriculum, or why are we focusing on these?
Right now, these are the only 2 courses that the College Board is changing the curriculum for that's rolling out in this coming year. The AP is taking a few courses at a time. I can tell you next year, AP US History and AP Physics are changing. So those will be the next 2 courses that we will have to take a look at.
So we'll probably be doing this next summer
Yep.
for those 2.
Mhm.
Okay. They don't give us
Will they give
more
you
lead
Well,
time?
they-
Morning?
We can prepare. One of the hard parts, though, is that we need to make sure that the textbooks are ready. So that is also an issue, that timing to make sure that the new texts are prepared and out there. It takes those publishers a while.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions or, so you've got a pensive look. What?
I do. Okay, so there's ebooks for the chemistry, but not for the Spanish. Did I see that right? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so what's up with that?
The Spanish one, the publisher that they chose does not offer the ebook. There are some online resources, but it's not a full ebook. And that is but this publisher was very highly recommended to the teacher from people that do the AP teaching.
So then the students would have a choice between the textbook or the ebook, or they would get both?
They would get access to both.
Okay. All right.
Chris?
Are we told what books to use, textbooks to use? Are we given a menu, or how is that done? Just to clarify that.
There is a menu of textbooks that you can choose from that meet the AP requirements.
Okay.
Any other questions? And we're talking now about the AP Spanish and the AP Chemistry. Hearing none, we'll move those forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we have consent items. We have a grant application for Head Start, and I know Sally Jansen is here. We'll welcome her to the table. Sherry Williams.
Spacala is at a funeral this evening and unable to join us.
I'm sorry.
I'd like to turn this over to Sally to walk through the grant application, and just want to thank both of them for their leadership as we move forward with the grant process and the sequestration as well.
Well, the good news is there were no cuts at the state level this year, so the funding is the same for $115,500, which funds 20 Head Start children, 3- and 4-year-old children. So basically, what we do is we assign a classroom teacher and classroom assistant to those state 20 children so that the costs basically are all associated with the one classroom, and that we can keep it somewhat separate between the federal and state budgets.
Okay. Any questions or concerns? Celestine.
Oh, so I'm confused. So this is not because of sequestration then? Okay.
No, we actually...
That's just...
That's the
I
feds.
understand that.
Yes.
So I thought, I actually,
This is
when I
state
saw-
money.
I saw that, so I thought, well, perhaps we're trying to find money to make up for what was, okay, that's what I thought.
No, we've been funded many, many years with the state, and we have had reductions over years, but it's remained the same for the past 3. So.
And I think that is good practice to contain it and to...
The federal government would prefer it that way. Yeah, we don't get quite the cost per child reimbursement from the state that we do the federal government. It's a couple $1,000s less per child, so. Yes.
Any other questions? Hearing none, we'll move on forward. Thanks for sticking around.
Thank you.
Any other matters allowed by law? Hearing none, we will move on to the organizational support work session. That's going to be facilitated by Andrew Becker.
All right, and we have, under discussion items, we have none under business and finances. Finance. Under human resources, we have discussion item, human resources staffing update.
That would bring Jean Marsh back to the table.
I just wanted to provide you with an update on the number of positions that we have open right now that we're still looking to fill. And we have 68, which is higher than we usually have because we've added some positions this year. So we have 10 Spanish bilingual postings yet. 6 candidates are in the process, in the employment process right now. We have 10 special ed positions, 2 special ed bilingual, 18 elementary positions. This would include the special areas such as interventionists and coaches, 2 in the district office curriculum and educator effectiveness, 17 in secondary education, that's throughout all of the secondary schools, 4 ESL, and then 4 response to intervention positions, those are new positions, and 1 in student services, a social worker. So we are still actively recruiting and interviewing and working. And then we have our dance position and educator effectiveness coordinator, Edison and Franklin APs. That's just a rundown of the open positions we have.
Okay.
So, but it's keeping everybody very busy. We have a lot of action going on.
I can imagine. Andrew, Chris would like to...
Yes.
You may have said it, Ms. Marsh. How does this compare to a year ago?
It is more positions than last year because we've added positions. For example, the teacher on special assignment for technology integration, that was 4 or 5. Those are coming mostly from within the district, so that means backfilling their positions, hiring new. Their response to intervention positions were 4. Those are new positions. And so if somebody comes within, then we backfill their position. This week, Friday the 19th, is the last day, though, that we're going to let the rollover, what I call the rollover occur, meaning people from within get priority to fill those jobs. So people can still apply internally, but we will look to fill externally when we can. There might be some circumstances where a part-time employee wants to go full-time, and we'll certainly give priority to those people, those individuals.
Okay.
Are you wanting for candidates at this point in time in any area or areas?
Yes, the most difficult to fill are FACE teachers, technology education, and then anybody who requires bilingual licensure, Spanish speaking. Those are the most difficult.
Anyone else?
So I'll keep you updated as we.
Can I make a
Sure.
Jean and her team and the cabinet folks have really been putting a tremendous amount of effort and time to bring quality candidates to the district, and really addressing our needs perhaps differently than we've done in the past, and not just waiting to see who comes to the table, but really casting nets out there in different directions. And I think that is serving us well, and I just want to thank you publicly for that and for your team and all the efforts as we move forward. Obviously, it's getting tighter and tighter as we get closer to the start of school, but we'll have to kind of keep that conversation going, and again, getting the word out as we have openings and positions that are cropping up and bubbling up here and there.
We've had multiple interviews going on for the administrative positions for the last several weeks, and it requires, we have teacher teams coming in, so teachers are giving up of their time to come in to interview candidates, and I've been impressed with the willingness of people to do that. And then we have candidates, the administrative candidates come in more than once. And all the principals have a confirming interview with Michelle. So but we want to make sure people are fully vetted before they're hired.
Absolutely.
Well, based on our previous meeting, you're doing well. I mean, you're finding good people. We wish you well.
It's not just me, it's...
No, your department.
Well, and it goes beyond, actually.
Yes.
It's because
networking
it's
and networking.
administrative people sitting to my left know candidates, and we source candidates in a variety of ways. Sometimes it's just picking up the phone and, calling and, getting a lead from somebody who's already working here, who knows somebody who might be a good match, and, it takes
doing good
multiple
networking.
ways, yeah.
Anything else? We'll proceed to action items. Action item number 1, business and finance. Recommended motion that the resolution designating public depositories as presented be approved. Questions, comments?
And these are the same, this is what we do every year.
Right.
Nothing different than.
Good point.
All right. And then we will move on to item number 2, CISA 7 contract edition. Recommended motion that the additional 2013-14 contract for CISA 7 as presented be approved.
Last time we had, I think, questions about Lewis and whatnot, and it's certainly been cleared up at least as to where that money is going. I appreciate that.
That was helpful.
All right, anything else? Move that forward. Under human resources, first item, only item, recommended motion that the table of organization be modified to reflect the change of a 1.0 custodial manager 12 months salary group 15 to a 1.0 manager of facility support services 12 months salary group 13, and that the associated job description as presented be approved. Questions or comments on that? Under consent items, we have business and under business and finance, the closing the books of the 2012-13 school year, so that report will carry forward to the budget document. Approval of bills, gifts, budget adjustments. Any questions, or does any board member wish to remove an item from the consent agenda to the regular? All right, under human resources, resignations, employment, and retirement. Any questions or comments, or does any board member wish to remove anything from the consent agenda to the regular agenda? Okay. Any all other matters allowed by law? I have one. I do have one announcement on an unfortunate one. But we have a student who just graduated from Preble. She She was involved in a wide range of activities, including sting cancer and Operation Snowball. Tiffany Stevens died unexpectedly this week. Graduated a month ago from Preble, and the visitation is tomorrow from 4 to 8 at Newcomb. So
Very sad.
Sad thing to have to.
I remember seeing her at Festival Foods shortly. So
She
it's
worked at
short.
Festival.
Any other matters followed by law?
Well, that goes in here, but I just want to remind people that July 31st, Scholarship Inc. has their banquet at which many youngsters will receive scholarships. Point out, Scholarships Inc. is giving away literally tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars since started, and much of that has gone to Green Bay students. So hopefully some of you will be able to make it.
We were there last year.
What time is it?
Mary's asking what time and where.
Board members, if they have.
We used to get a notification, have we not? I've not received anything in the mail to my.
It just,
Did you get something?
I have a card, so I can give that information, Sandy, and I can
Okay,
make
if you
sure
could
and get
include
it
that,
out.
if you could beam that over to us. That would be helpful.
In terms of full disclosure, my wife is on the board there.
Duly
Co-chair of it
noted.
this year,
Yes,
so it's
duly
not
noted,
like
and she
I
will
don't
be
have a
pleased that
vested
you brought it.
interest.
Yeah. Yep.
Starts at 5:45.
Thank you. And where? Is it at Radisson again? Okay.
Thank you.
All right. We do have a closed session, so I will read this 7-page closed session notice. And then we can begin. Closed session has been scheduled for Monday, July 15th, 2013, immediately following the adjournment of the work session meetings, which begin at 5:30 p.m. at the District Office Building, 200 South Broadway, Green Bay, Wisconsin, 54303, room 337, pursuant to Wisconsin Statute 19.85, Paren 1, Paren C, considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility and pursuant to Wisconsin Statute 1985, Paren 1, Paren F, considering financial, medical, social, or personal histories or disciplinary data of specific persons, preliminary consideration of specific personnel problems, or the investigation of charges against specific persons, except where Part B applies, which, if discussed in public, would likely have a substantial adverse effect upon the reputation of any person referred to in such histories or data, or involved in such problems or investigations, to wit, personnel matters, pursuant to statute 1985, Paren 1, Part G, conferring with legal counsel for the governmental body who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is or is likely to become involved. More specifically, to grant potential litigation, and pursuant to Wisconsin Statute 1985, 1, Paren E, deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business. Whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session, more specifically to wit potential property contracts. The meeting will begin in open session to consider the appropriate motion for a closed session so provided by law. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, Sandy?
Maloney?
Aye.
Browns? Aye.
Jeffries?
Aye.
Becker?
Aye.
Blackout?
Aye.
Wagner?
Aye.
We will move across the hall. Thank you.
What's your tomorrow?
For more information or to obtain copies of this program, contact CISA 7 Interactive Learning Services at 920-465-5218.